Hey, 8th grade teachers. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take the week 2, September 1st, which would be that Tuesday, how to take these resources and put them into your Schoology course. Now, you can certainly click on each of these links and then individually add those into your Schoology. However, we have tried to already do that work for you and have put all of these links also into our Schoology group so that you can just copy them to your course. So in this video, I'll show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is go into my Schoology Sandbox course. I'm going to go to that second week, and I'm going to go under Tuesday, September 1st. You can see right now that that folder is empty for me. So I want to add some materials. So I'm going to go to Add Materials. All the way at the bottom, Import from Resources. I'll click on that. And now what I'm going to do is find some stuff from that middle school social studies group. So I'll click on the left where it says Group. I'll click on MS Social Studies Teachers. I'll go to 8th grade resources, week 2, and then I'm going to scroll down a bit for Tuesday, September 1st. So you're going to see 3 different resources here. I'm just going to pull in all 3 to my course. So if I do that check mark at the top, it'll automatically select all 3. Then I'll click Import, that blue button at the bottom. It'll ask me again if I want to import. Yes, import. And then you'll see all 3 of those things pop up into my course. Now, this is not ready to go yet. There's some edits that you'll need to do. So let's walk through some of those before you publish this for your students. So speaking of publish, the first thing I want to do is unpublish those things. And you can see how we did that there by clicking on the gear and clicking on unpublish and then unpublish again. And I would do that for the third thing as well. So let's first talk about your live interaction slides. When you click on that top link, it's going to force you to make a copy. We'll go ahead and make a copy of that. I always suggest that you rename that copy as soon as possible, and maybe also save that in a secure location in your drive so that you can go back and find it later. So you're going to see on the first slide that you have that kind of attendance question, that Google form, if you choose to have kids sign in if they're attending your live session. Other campuses have done similar things, so maybe you have your own Google form that you use for your campus. Whatever works for you, just make sure you get rid of this yellow teachers box before showing this to your kids. So you'll notice there's a little icebreaker on slide 3. There's some suggestions on slide 4 for how you might check for understanding from the previous day's activity, just within that live session. And then you have the learning objective and a little hook activity for the day. And that hook activity is actually going to be something in Schoology as well. We'll take a look at it in a second. So let's say you have this as you want it. We're going to go to the yellow share button at the top right of your screen. It's going to say that it's restricted. I don't want it restricted. I'm going to click on blue, change link to Northside ISD. And then I'm going to go copy that link, and I can click on done. I'm going to go back into my Schoology course and see how I have this copy link here. I want to change that link. So I'll click on the gear and click on edit. And then I'm going to delete that URL or that link that's there and then paste my new URL. So this is going to that document that we just renamed and edited, right? So and then I probably want to take out copy there. So we can certainly add that in as you see now and click on Save Changes. And what that'll do is when my students click on that link, it'll open up a new tab for them. Now let's say you want to get fancy on me. And let's say you want to actually embed your live interaction slides onto your kind of like inside your folder so that the students aren't going into a new tab. Okay, so if you want to get fancy, I'm going to show you something you can also do. You can go to Add Materials and Add Page. And I'm going to use that same link that I just used, or that same, I should say, Google Slides. And let's say I'm going to call this Live Slides. What is this? September 1st, Tuesday. All right, and now what I want to do is go to Insert Content, that little box with the arrow and that middle part of the toolbox. And I'm going to go to Google Drive Resource App. Now, hopefully, the last thing that I worked on should be at the very top, and it is. Awesome. So I'm going to click the check mark to the left. I'll go up top where it says Import, and I'll select Import Embed. Okay. Now, for right now, it looks scary because it's just this yellow box, but that will change, I assure you. One more thing we want to do, on the bottom it says Options, And right now it says display on a new page. If I hover on there, I'm going to click on there, and now it says display in line. And let me show you what that does. We're going to click on the bottom blue create button. It's loading, and then what you will see is your actual live slides embedded directly into Schoology rather than your kids clicking on a new window. So it's really just a matter of preference. If I want to keep these live slides, I can click and drag it to the top. So it's the first thing my kids see, but then I will want to go and go to this 8th grade live interaction slides link, and I'm going to go to edit, or I'm going to go to the gear and click on delete. I don't need it both times, right? So again, really just depends on what you want to do. All right, that was the first thing in the folder. The second thing is this discussion board. Have you ever had to move? It's pretty much ready to go, but there's one thing we're going to go and edit. Many of you guys have expressed that you want kids to not be able to comment until they have, you don't want kids to be able to read other people's comments until they have commented themselves. So the way you would do that is when you're editing this discussion, you go to the bottom. Right now it says members can see other responses before they participate. I want to change that by clicking on it. Now it's lit up, and it's going to require members to post before revealing other responses. That's what I want. So I'll click on Save Changes, and that's really all I had to do to change that, unless there's any specific stuff that you want to edit for your own purpose. The third thing we have in here is something that kids will actually turn in. So we're going to click on this Comparing 13 Colonies Questions, and I'm actually going to go to the gear and edit it. I notice it says Teacher Directions right there. Whoa, so I'm going to need to fix that before I assign this to my students. So you will notice that this is a Google Doc assignment in which we want kids to have their own copy that they can edit and then turn into you as a teacher. So we're going to click on this link. If I right click it and go open link in a new tab, it's going to force me to make my own copy as a teacher. Again, I'd suggest renaming this so it's easier for you to find, so you don't just have this copy of 13 Colonies floating around in your drive. So as I'm changing that, just so you know, here's what kids are doing. At the top of this document, there is a link of a map to the 13 colonies. I'm going to go ahead and click on that just so you can see it. My kids would also be opening this as well. And I'm going to kind of zoom out by pressing Control minus. I can zoom in by doing Control plus. And as my students hover over the colonies, they're going to see a short description on the reason it was colonized, because that learning objective today is for them to compare the reasons the 13 colonies were founded. You'll notice there's not a little bullet for all 13 of them, really just the most commonly tested colonies there. Okay. Now what my students are doing with this is answering the questions in this Google Doc. Now you'll notice I've tried to highlight the words if they're asking about a specific colony, and that would correspond with its color on the map. Okay. So I want my kids to get their own copy of this, kind of like the way they did in Google Drive. Here's how I do that. I'm going to click on the blue to the right share button. I want to change it so everyone in Northside can view. I'll copy the link, I'll click done, I go back into my Schoology assignment. Now you'll notice it says assign from app, and there's this Google Drive assignments icon, but there's no document. That's where I need to add in my document. So I'll click on the Google Drive assignments icon. It's going to pull up that Google Drive again. You'll notice the first thing is my Vasquez 13 colonies, so I'm going to click on that and then click attach. Now it's going to take a moment to load, but what you'll notice is it now says this will create a copy of your file for each student. Yay, that's what I want. I'm going to now delete those teacher instructions, so now it just has the student directions. All right, now you could always go and change all the parameters for grading. You can unpublish it at this point, right, if you don't want your kiddos to see it, and then I can go save changes. At this point, I can then, if I have everything the way I want it, I can then go and copy these into my course. But do keep in mind, we've been told that when you copy them to your course, it might drop off that Google Docs. You will have to go and add that into each of your courses. So that's why it's really important to keep this open so you know where it's at. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to contact us or your academic tech coach.